Hey guys, yeah, I know I am super late with this Rain review. I'm a week late. I promise I would not let it happen again. I just kept on trying to do the review and then it would disconnect in the middle. It's annoying. It's probably the Wi-Fi that was making it. But yeah, I'm not gonna go into great detail. I'm just gonna breeze through this review, but my next episode review will be my usual detailed review. So let's get on. Okay, first of all, I have to say this episode was good. Like from episode 13 was pretty good episode. Not as bad as episode 12. I still stand I hate it, but from the looks of tonight's episode of Rain, it looks like I won't hate episode 12 anymore. I still won't like it, but I won't hate it anymore. So, yeah, okay. Basically, we learn about, with Bash's storyline, we learn about this woman in white. She's taking people out of their graves, like dead people out of their graves, and they're alive, okay. Basically, Rain Riders, I mean, this is like another one of these storylines. I'm just like, I'm done. Rain Riders either make the show fantastical or make it a normal, just period drama. I'm sick of, like, I mean, Game of Thrones has, like, a mystical vibe, but you see it through the dragons and all these weird, like, elves and dwarves, and then with season 4 finale, like, really went fantastical, but you know there's an element there. But with Rain, it's like you're never too sure, so make up your mind. And also, Greer wasn't in this episode, but it looks like we'll be seeing her in the new episode, so yeah. I mean, she was banished. Still not happy about that. It turns out Catherine, at first they thought she had syphilis in this episode, but it turns out she has been poisoned. And it turns out, with Narcisse's help, and he was very handsome in this episode, it turns out that King Henry's Bible was poisoned. So basically, that's why he went crazy, and then I guess she was using his Bible, and that's why she started to go slightly mad. So yeah. So who did it? Looking forward to finding out who did it. Yay. Okay, basically, and Antoine finally makes his appearance in court, like, as a guest, and it turns out he needs help from Francis and Mary to give him money, because Navarre is a very small country, it's like Navarre is this little bitty country, and then Spain is like this big country, and then France is like this, and then England is like there. Portugal is obviously on the side of France. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's the fist of Europe right there. But anyways, turns out Antoine needs help. And even more, it turns out with Narcisse's help, loving Narcisse, love him. So glad he's still his suave, smooth character. I love it. It turns out that England is planning revenge, on France for I don't know what. I don't know why. I feel like they're demonizing England. I mean, France and England have always, throughout history, have been at each other's throats. Definitely for centuries. I think they're okay now. I'm sure they're still, I don't think they love each other, but they were on the same side in both world wars. So I think they don't hate each other as much. There's probably still a little, I'm not sure, but there might be a little distaste for each other there, but not as much as they were. But yeah, and the fact, I feel like they're demonizing England and Elizabeth, and I don't appreciate that at all. But I do hope we see Elizabeth, because Elizabeth is one of my favorite historical figures ever. Like her, Henry VIII, I have to say, Mary, Queen of Scots would be like a third place for one of my favorite historical figures. But anyways, so looking forward to that. It looks like Mary and Francis are trying to, get their marriage back on track, but at the end of the episode, it ends up not working. Mary basically, she's like, I still love you. She's letting him, you can be with another. I will just not be with you as well, but because I love you. because she's basically like, because I love you, I will let you be with another and I won't. I'm just like, that's total BS. It's like, Mary totally has feelings for Conde. Honestly, I know in like throughout the episode, since she's been raped, which, you know, we don't talk about that. I don't want to bring up a discussion again. But, yeah, she's like, the touch of a man, like, even a hand touch, makes me, like, her, you know, freaks her out. But then we see her constantly touching hands with Conde, and then Frances sees that, like, so basically, the thought of Frances touching her makes her ill, but not Conde, so looking for that. So yeah. Okay. So yeah. So who knows where that's gonna go, but from the look of tonight's episode, it doesn't look like Mary and Frances will be happy for long. Okay, Antoine and Kenna. I mean, basically, Antoine and Conde, they're talking in this episode, and basically Antoine ends up thinking that Bash is responsible for their brother's death, which I guess was a few years ago. And yeah, looking forward to that. And also, he starts to pursue Kenna, sort of. And I'm like, looking forward to that, because I never shipped, Kenash. First of all, I think that's a stupid ship name. But, I like Cash better. But I never shipped Bash and Kenna. They were fine, like, in season 1 when after they started, like, liking each other, I guess. I was like, they're fine. But I always thought their relationship was purely sexual, you know. I never thought they really loved each other. I still stand by that statement. But I have to say, I kind of ship Antoine and Kenna. Even though Kenna's married to Bash, Antoine's married to Joan the Third or Joan the Second of Navarre. So yeah. And also, yeah. And also, Narcisse is trying to get back in with the whole royal family. He wants to be back to his position again, and he kind of uses Claude, which I don't care. I hate Claude. Though I'm letting her have this episode, you know, because she was like happy when Catherine was getting all these syphilis treatments when we know it was the poisoning, and I was like, okay, I'll let you have this one, Claude. But yeah, okay, so yeah. But Narcisse is trying to get rid of Conde, and of course Antoine along with him. So yeah, we'll see where that goes. But I'm not worried about Conde or Antoine. Okay, the last thing I really want to talk about in this episode, and then I have a couple other like little just other things to say. First of all, Conde finally said no to Mary. I ship them so hard, but I'm like, Conde always does everything Mary asks him, and he finally said no to her. I'm like, thank you, Conde. I know she's the Queen of France, but still, just, you can't let, I've been saying this a lot, but, and I will say it again, Mary has been totally honeypotting Conde. Now, if you don't know what honeypotting means, watch the interview. I'm not going to explain it. You watch it, it'll be like, oh, it makes sense. But she's been honeypotting Conde. It's just like, oh, and I'm just sick of the back and forth between her and Frances and her and Conde. It's just like, Mary, make up your mind. Even if she doesn't end up choosing Conde and she chooses Frances, but she lets Conde go, and let him move on to another, I'll be happy, because I'm just like, make up your mind, Mary. I mean, it wasn't as annoying with Bash and Frances. Between Bash and Frances, it wasn't even a contest. The only reason she had ever, like, loved on Bash, kinda, was to save Frances's life. And that wasn't even a contest. That was like, oh yeah, duh, she's gonna choose, Frances. But yeah, just make up your mind, Mary. I'm sick of the back and forth. But yeah. And also, there are some Lola and Conde scenes, but there's no chemistry between them. There's really none. Okay. So, overall, solid episode. Yeah. Also, I have a few other things to say. First of all, they played Chandelier. Like, you know how they did Royals last season? Like, they did Chandelier. It sounded cool. And also, I have to say, this is totally just related to the series as a whole. Frances always is wearing, like, several episodes, he's worn this black overcoat with these gold flowers embroidered on him. I'm like, why do they keep on making him wear that? That's my least, probably the ugliest outfit I've ever seen. It's so, and it's really like, it doesn't make him look masculine. He keeps on wearing it. I'm just like, stop making him wear that. It's ugly. I don't like it. Also, one other thing to say, I have to say, this is personally what I think, but Mary turns into an extremely boring character whenever she's like happy with Francis. I don't know why, because she turns into a really boring character whenever she like is happy with Francis. It's just like, ugh. I mean, honestly, Mary shouldn't even be worrying about her love life. She should be worrying about running her country. I mean, that's all I have to say about that. But other than that, this is my review for the episode. Promise, tonight's review, I will have it either later up tonight or sometime tomorrow. But yeah, though probably later tonight. But yeah, but solid episode overall, much better than the other episode. Can't wait for tonight's episode. What did you think of this episode? And yeah, I will see you guys later. Bye.